Yeah. Friendly crowd. In my previous speech, when testing for my probationary black belt, I discussed in detail how training at KMMA was very similar to training as a surgeon. Today, I'd like to take some time to discuss the mental attitude that I have brought from my surgical training to KMMA. I've yet to find any part of training at KMMA to be random. Grandmaster Steves makes sure that all of his instructors understand the KMMA way, the pedagogy of the school. Each instructor has their own personality and teaching style, but the core of the teaching process is standard, and that makes it so much easier to be a student. When one is training to be a surgeon, Doctors Del Castillo, all three of them, do things one way, Dr. Pioli another, Drs. Kremner and Borton yet another. While this may be helpful later in your career, it is very confusing when you start. This is something we do not have to concern ourselves with at KMMA. One can focus their mental energy on learning the KMMA way. My white belt self did not see very many physical demands. Again, this is the KMMA way. As I progressed through the ranks, more and more physical demands were made. With this came some very interesting moments. Hey, I'm in my mid-60s. Will I be able to keep this thing going? When I started, I couldn't do a pull-up. Now I can do 13. I've also lost 20 pounds doing this. I have had great fellow students help me tremendously at KMMA. In particular, I have a great role model in Rhett Tanner. He is 2 years older than me, and I decided if that guy is doing this physically demanding stuff, then so will I. Well, easy for me to say. The guy is a power lifter, and most often the strongest guy in any room. Something that I do not think has ever been said about me. But Rhett is tenacious, consistent, friendly, possibly the nicest guy on the planet, other than Fireman Bill, and a great training partner. The superpower of focus is always front and center, as I must make sure while holding a pad he doesn't kick me through a wall. When we were taking our probationary black belt test and the instructors were doing their best to tire us out, I started responding with, "Bring it on, sir. Bring it on, ma'am." Rhett looked at me like I had totally lost my mind. The reason I did it was because I wanted to stay in control of the situation as long as I could. I was going to decide how much I could do, and as I learned as a surgeon, you can stay up and operate for 30 or 40 straight hours when you must. I meant no disrespect to the instructors. It was just my way to keep my focus, and we all know that energy flows where focus goes. I had to convince myself that I had still more to give so that I knew I could make it through, because a black belt is a white belt that doesn't quit. Rhett and I decided the night before that we were going to do as much or more than the younger folks did, and by golly, we did. And we hope to do the same again Sunday. KMMA has taught me a great deal about being positive. I grew up the son of a surgeon, and excellence was really not rewarded. It was expected. When I went through schooling, A's were expected because if you didn't get them, you had to think about another profession. Surgical training is the same way. Compliments are as frequent as unicorn sightings. Not so at KMMA. In a CIT class, I was taught how to be a finder, how to recognize the positive in every student and communicate to them. I was gobsmacked. That was so totally different than anything I had ever experienced that I initially rebelled against it. I had a private meeting with Grandmaster and told him that I thought it was disingenuous to give me a compliment while I was making multiple mistakes. Again, he took the time to explain the law of the process and how his way of teaching had served him well and would work for me if I would just allow it to. He was right, and I must say that it has changed my relationship with my kids and grandkids. I now look to be a finder of the positive and not just dwell on the negative. I still have a way to go, but it is now natural for me to do this at the dojo, and I'm widening my circle every day. Who said that you can't teach an old dog new tricks? One day, perusing the internet, I asked Dr. Dear Google, what percentage of students typically reach black belt? The average answer was, of all those who start training, only 1% to 3% make black belt. Of course, the numbers get even smaller as you go to second degree, third degree, and beyond. Every one of us is giving their speech tonight will be in this elite group if they don't quit. This reminded me of Commander Mike Metcalf, call sign Viper, in the movie Top Gun. As he addressed the gathering of the Top Gun candidates, the best of the naval aviators, he said this: "Gentlemen, you are the top 1% of all naval aviators, the elite, the best of the best. We'll make you better." That's what they do at Krav Maga. That is what I look forward to continue my training and have the KMMA Top Gun staff continue to make me better with humility and respect.